This is just a quick update on Boogie. This is the Bougainvillea that I managed to keep over winter, and I meant to do a video in the spring and never got round to it. Anyway, I thought I'd do a quick one just to show how she's getting along. Anyway, she did survive the winter. She did lose all of her bracts, all of her leaves, everything off down to twig for the entire winter time. Put her in the house, in the sunroom, and sat her in a windowsill. She had pretty good light. The light's very good. We're south facing, so the light's pretty good here. And I didn't really water her, probably less than once a month, and I only gave her a trickle of water really just to sort of keep her alive because she was dormant and just fast asleep really, and I wanted her to stay that way. I didn't want her having any hissy fits in the middle of winter when I couldn't really deal with it. So just kept her alive really, ticking over, and she's been good. Even on a day like today where it's quite overcast here, there is some sun in between the cloud, but you know it's reading 36 in there at the moment. So and Boogie doesn't like the heat in the greenhouse when it gets over about 25 to 30. That's her max. If it's in the greenhouse, it's too much for her and she'll wilt. And I had her in there the other week and it was too hot, and all these leaves went, like this, completely closed up, and then started to fall off, which is why she doesn't have as many leaves on as she did maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, because as soon as it gets too hot, she wilts basically. So very temperamental, very awkward, and I really have to question why am I bothering to grow something that had to come away on holiday with us? Twice this year I've taken her, twice to Wales. And she doesn't mind the Welsh air, but she's never really had any Welsh water. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't have the nerve, the sheer audacity to give Boogie Welsh water in case she took a turn for the worse. So she's only ever had Yorkshire water. Um, she is in ericaceous compost. I potted her up in ericaceous compost at the end of last year. I topped it up in the spring. I've fed her with ericaceous feed, very weak, like maybe less than half strength ericaceous feed I gave her at the start of the season. And when she started to look like she was going to flower, I switched and gave her a half strength of tomato food or tomarite, just to help with the flowering. But that's all I've done really, and made sure that she didn't dry out when she was flowering, because if they dry out when they start flowering, they can have a bit of a hissy fit. They can have a hissy fit just because it's a Monday. They can have a hissy fit just because they feel like it. So they are difficult, but she's still alive anyway. So that's the update really. She didn't get watered much over the winter. I kept her dormant and just a tiny trickle of water to keep her asleep. And when the days got lighter and warmer, she came out into the greenhouse during the day, and then she came back into the house on an evening. At the moment she's staying out in the greenhouse on a night time because we're not dropping below much like 15s, which she's fine with that. And she comes out of the greenhouse when it's very sunny because she doesn't like it too hot in there under glass. It can be a bit tense for her. But she's doing fine, and she's still alive, so I think it's a success really. So that's it anyway. So Boogie, an update on Bougainvillea. She's flowering, she's still alive, she's I would say reasonably happy looking at her there. I mean, she's not unhappy, is she? But she's never going to be big shakes, I don't think, and I don't really want her to grow massive, because what am I going to do with her? Can't take her to Wales, can I? If she gets big, and I can't bring her in the house if she gets big, so I need to keep her small. And it's just a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Just a bit of fun to grow something that we shouldn't be really allowed to grow in the Yorkshire Dales. I mean, look at it, we're very green, and you know, we're not Mediterranean, we're not tropical. It's Yorkshire. It rains a lot here. So, but she's alive. So I'm chalking this one up to a success, and we'll see how we get on this winter. And if we bring her through that, I'll do another update next year. There you go.